Hello and welcome to Watch Otaku Recap. Today I will be explaining part 1 of Summertime Rendering. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. While returning to Hidogashima, Shinpei dreams of a moment with Ushio, who wonders how many years has it been since he last came to the island. Before going, Ushio tells him to find her and protect Mio. When he wakes up, he bumps into a woman and is slapped by her. Stepping on the island, Shinpei is greeted by a speeding Mio on a bike, Ushio's little sister. She is unable to stop and ends up falling in the water. Mio reveals that the island now has many people she doesn't know. But lately, even people she knows sometimes seem like strangers. At the funeral, Shinpei recalls that he lost his parents 10 years ago and was taken by the Kofune family, making Ushio not only a childhood friend, but family too. So hugs Shinpei and cries, explaining that Ushio tried saving a kid, but ended up drowning. So points out at Shirori Kobayakawa, stating it's her that Ushio saved, but the girl haven't spoken since then. That night, Shinpei prepares curry for Mio, Alan and Ushio. As they eat, a police officer notices Mio standing outside of the house and looking at it. After dinner, So calls Shinpei and explains that his father didn't perform an autopsy. They found marks on Ushio's neck, similar to strangling, making it possible that Ushio was killed. Mio then knocks on Shinpei's door and gives him Ushio's necklace. She hugs him and cries, stating she will never see Ushio again and won't ever forgive the one who killed her. The next day, a drunk customer, Nakamura, asks Shinpei if he found who he was looking for. As Shinpei wonders what he means, Nakamura explains it's a woman with glasses and a large bust. Tetsu Tatsumura enters the dinner and asks for the usual. Shinpei recalls he is related to Kofune's family and is the only police officer on the island. Tetsu explains that the Kobayakawa family had vanished. Hearing that, Mio runs outside and Shinpei goes after her. She tells him that Shirori was acting weird recently. Mio explains that around a week ago, Shirori said she saw a girl who looked just like herself. A hunter by the name of Jinjiro Mizu interrupts them and states it's called the shadow sickness, a disease endemic to this island. If you are taken by the shadow sickness, you start seeing your shadow, and all those who saw it, died, killed by it. The shadow then pretends to be the one it killed and kills the remaining family. Jinjiro says that his grandpa told him that the afflicted would go to Hirako to be cleansed. At the shrine, Mio looks at the forest and states she saw Shirori and makes Shinpei run with her. They hear a gunshot and run towards the sound. Shinpei ends up finding the woman with glasses he bumped into on the boat, bleeding from a gun bullet. Before Shinpei can listen, she gets shot in the head. Shinpei then turns to see Mio holding a gun and having another Mio as hostage, to which she pulls the trigger and kills both Mio and Shinpei. Shinpei then wakes up on the boat, bumping in the woman with the glasses again. Shinpei wakes up at the boat and recalls that it's the woman from the forest. He looks at his phone and sees it's July 22nd, but recall going to Hirako on 23rd with Mio. Shinpei then thinks of the novel, Swamp Man, a mystery horror story taking place in Wakayama City, where a young girl believes her family and friends are replaced by copies. Stepping on the island, Shinpei feels he had already experienced this moment. Mio then arrives greeting him and falls in the water in the same way, with Shinpei noticing the bike brake wire is cut. After cooking curry, Shinpei decides to go out to take some fresh air while thinking of the cut wire and if someone actually tried to kill Mio. He overhears the police officer Tetsu, who sees Mio standing in front of the house. Mio then kills Tetsu, stabbing him multiple times with a kitchen knife, making him realize that isn't Mio, but a shadow. The shadow Tetsu then touches the dead Tetsu, causing a flash and disintegrating his body. As his phone vibrates, Mio hears it. She finds Shinpei and stabs him in the neck. Shinpei then awakens on July 22nd as he steps on Hidogashima. Elsewhere, Hizuru, the woman with the glasses, recorded herself while hanging upside down from a tree. That evening, Shinpei calls Tetsu, informing him of a fight and sending him elsewhere, so that he doesn't encounter Shadow Mio. Shinpei decides to use his phone to record outside of the house and film Shadow Mio. Shinpei notices his right eye has a different color, but isn't aware when it happened. In the morning, Shinpei retrieves his phone. He then heads to Mio's room and shows her the recording. Explaining that a shadow appeared and observed Mio last night, Mio then guesses that Ushio was killed by a shadow. Shinpei goes to Koba Mart, but it's closed. As no one opens and the door is unlocked, Shiomi goes to look around. Shinpei notices black stains. Shinpei figures out that they must have been attacked during dinner last night and also sees some strange dents on the floor. Shinpei decides to check the second floor for Shirori. He tries to turn on the lights, but notices a flash behind him. Shiori stands behind him. As she creates a shadow, Shiomi comes and Shiori vanishes. Shinpei then returns to Kofune's diner, where Tetsu comes and is about to ask him about the fake fight he reported. As Tetsu's reaction is different, Shinpei realizes it's the real one and not a shadow. Tetsu then hands a phone to Shinpei and Mio recognizes it as Ushio's. Tetsu explains that Ushio came a day before she died and gave him the phone, telling to give it to Shinpei if something were to happen to her. So comes and Shinpei decides to tell him everything and that Mio is the next target. So wonders if they can recognize who is a shadow, but Shinpei isn't aware of any way. So reminds him that tomorrow is the festival and it's going to be the busiest time of the year for the shrine, thus the priest won't have time for them. The next day, Shinpei still hasn't found a way to unlock Ushio's phone. So, Takiko and Mio come to pick him up for the festival. They go to the festival and while Shinpei is alone with So, he shares that he promised to protect Ushio, but wasn't even here when she needed him. Shinpei then realizes that So still has feelings for Mio. So reveals that his father told him that once the fireworks end, the priest would be free and they can go in. Shinpei then sees Ushio in the crowd and runs after her. He follows her to the beach and sees her standing in the water, who then runs at him and hugs him, while being surprised that he came back. Shinpei states she is dead and believes she must be a shadow. Thinking about it, Ushio can't remember anything outside of feeling pain. Ushio wonders if it's 24th already and as Shinpei confirms, she states she wanted to go to the festival with him. Shinpei realizes that Ushio doesn't think she is a shadow and goes with her at the festival. He tells her to stay hidden until the festival is over as everyone believes she is dead and can't meet her friends. Shinpei joins Mio and the rest and they watch the ceremony of Omiokuri. Takiko tells Shinpei that So intends to confess to Mio, but things won't work out as Mio already loves someone else. So then asks Takiko and Shinpei to listen and tells Mio that he loves her and wants to protect her. However, Mio states she likes him, but wishes they to remain friends. A disguised Ushio then appears and tries to cheer up South. As her disguise is poor, everyone quickly recognizes her. Mio states it's not Ushio, but a monster and warns Shinpei to stay away from her as she is a shadow. Shinpei refuses, and grabs Ushio, causing her pain. As a shadow comes out of Shinpei, everyone realizes that Shinpei is a shadow too. About 10 minutes earlier, while running towards the shrine, Shinpei encounters Shadow Mio who had just killed someone. Shinpei notices many black stains. A shadow Shinpei then appears and wonders how many times has Shinpei died, and creates a flash. Shinpei realizes that the flash at Shiori's house made a copy of him and all of his memories until then. But this new flash will now update and learn everything. Mio then tries to kill Shinpei, but Shadow Shinpei stops her, stating they need to think a bit more and if they kill him, he can just loop again. He then proceeds towards the shrine. Shinpei wishes to stop him, but Mio breaks his arm, stating he is struggling pointlessly as Mother will soon wake up. As Shinpei is struggling, Hizuru appears and shoots Mio in the head. Shinpei recognizes her as the woman from the boat, but then notices that Mio is gone. She then comes out of the shadow and attempts to stab Hizuru, however, Hizuru dodges and points the gun at Mio's shadow and shoots it. And due to the gunshot, she falls apart and disappears. Hizuru introduces her as Ryanosuke Nagumo, and had come to save Shinpei. Shinpei wonders if she can tell humans from shadows and Hizuru explains that above the shadow is just a lump of flesh in human shape. They hate when someone steps on them and only a shadow will move to avoid being stepped on. According to Hizuru's sister, the shadows scan humans with light and absorb their information, leaving a black stain behind. A flash occurs on top of the hill and Shinpei requests Hizuru's help as he wants to save Mio. He runs up the stairs and finds Takiko, who starts crying and is then killed by a shadow. The shadow states the hour of 9 is approaching and the festival is over, revealing a big pile of dead humans behind it. The main shadow then creates a female shadow from itself, who points a gun at Hizuru and she gets shot in the arm. The shadow then grabs Shinpei, looking at its right eye and it realizes it must be the eye their mother lost long ago. He wonders why he has it, but states he can control time with it. The parent shadow offers them as a meal and asks their mother to grant him the last of her strength. Mother then appears floating in the air in a shining red light. The parent shadow starts spreading across the island and consumes everyone it touches. As the parent shadow prepares to consume Shinpei, Ushio comes and punches him. Hizuru tells Shinpei that if he really can go back, to find her and say his name. Hizuru then shoots Shinpei in the head. Shinpei then finds himself floating in air. He sees the island is being engulfed in shadow. A red girl notices him as well. Shinpei then clearly hears Ushio, who tells him that his power has a limit and that everyone dies at the festival. Shinpei returns to July 22nd. Later, Shinpei starts thinking about the situation and what Ushio told him. He realizes that each time, his starting points moves ahead. Arriving on Hitogashima, Hizuru is about to step on a man's shadow, but the shadow moves avoiding being stepped on. Hizuru sees a notification about Ushio Kofune's funeral and recognizing the Kofune name, she decides to attend it. There, even after 14 years, Masahito recognizes Hizuru, who steps on his shadow and confirms that he isn't one of them. Masahito calls Alan wanting to see if he will recognize Hizuru, but Hizuru reveals her name. Hizuru recalls that during her second year of middle school, she was a frequent visitor at the Kofune restaurant. Alan had 2 daughters and his wife passed away after giving birth to Mio. Alan receives a call from Mio, who tells him that she and Shinpei fell into the ocean. Overhearing that, Hizuru asks about Shinpei, and Alan explains it's his best friend's son, Shinpei Ajiro, who he took in. Masahito explains that about 10 years ago, both of his parents died in a boating accident. Hearing that, Hizuru realizes that the boy sitting in front of her on the boat was Shinpei. Alan follows her and tells Hizuru about Ushio's marks on the neck, and she returns to Ushio's coffin and opens it, to check her neck. Asako recognizes Hizuru, an old friend of her, who was visiting the Kofune restaurant with her. Asako explains that Ushio saved her daughter Shirori during the accident. However, Hizuru notices that Asako's shadow is avoiding her foot. Hizuru reveals to Jinjiro that the whole Kobayakawa family are shadows. Hizuru guesses that a shadow was drowning Shirori and killed and erased her, but then played and acted like she was the one drowning, and then killed and replaced the Kobayakawas. At 1:30 p.m., Ushio's casket enters the furnace. Shinpei plans to ask 2 questions those he suspects. Alan tells him that's Hizuru and gives him a note she gave him, when he asked her about her contact info. Shinpei recognizes the text as being a code from her book The Drift. After cracking it, Shinpei calls the phone number and Jinjiro picks up. Jinjiro tells him to go back alone to the funeral hall. Getting there, Jinjiro tells him to stand still and shoots at Shinpei's shadow. After confirming Shinpei isn't a shadow, Jinjiro invites him to his place. Jinjiro notes that to solve the code you need to know the author, Ryunosuke Nagumo, and her real name. Hizuru appears and Shinpei gives her his copy of Swamp Man. She notes that he didn't know who she was on the boat and that there is no way to know her identity unless she revealed it. She states that this isn't Shinpei's first time experiencing July 22nd. This would mean, he is a time traveler. Thank you for watching part 1 of Summertime Rendering. Each part of the recap will contain 6 episodes. So please check out the description below for future parts and hit the subscribe button to help our channel grow. Thank you and have a great day.